Hi, it is Talking Reds. I'm Josh Sexton, joined today by John Gibbons. It's a lovely day in Liverpool today. We're going to be looking ahead to RB Salzburg via Liverpool, which is, of course, playing later on tonight. But first, John, I want to talk about the Lionesses just briefly last night because that performance was once again amazing. I keep sort of hearing this being levelled at the England women, like every time they come up against a challenge. It's like, oh, they've overcome this one, the next one's going to be bigger. This was meant to be bigger than the Spain challenge, and they absolutely swept Sweden aside, and a really good Sweden side too.
Yeah, the football that they're playing, the style of football and the fearlessness is what's getting me. You know, it's not just the fact that they're getting through each round, you know, which is obviously brilliant, qualifying for the final. That's what knockout competition's all about. But the manner in which they're doing it, and there's a, as I say, a fearlessness about them, the way they're dealing with pressure, because, you know, it is pressure, home nation in the Euros. They'll know how many people are watching, you know, they'll know, they'll be on social media because you can't help it, can you, and seeing sort of how big it is. But instead of it being like a burden to them, it's almost an inspiration. And almost each time they step the pitch, they seem to, you know, step up even more. But last night was almost a perfect performance against a team who were number 2 in the world, and they just swept them aside so stylishly. And yeah, it's great. It's great that so many people are behind them. It's great that, you know, you know, everyone seems to sort of want them to win and is behind them, and hopefully, you know, we'll see. Obviously, we get in the final on Sunday tonight, but hopefully they can go one better and do it, because yeah, they deserve it for everything they've done. They've been brilliant.
100%. And you mentioned that the following behind it there and the coverage has been unbelievable. I think we're all massive Ian Wright fans, particularly this morning, if not in general. There's plenty more from the Anfield Wrap on the women's Euros and coverage of it. There was a 3 Strikes podcast recorded yesterday, which went out yesterday as well, which mentioned about the coverage of the women's Euros and how good that's been, how positive it's been, how much of an inspiration it is for the rest of the country. But we're going to talk about another little show that we've been doing here on the Anfield Wrap. It's been a thing for a while, which I've been hosting, called the Team Talk, where we react to Jurgen Klopp's press conference. It was formerly a podcast, head of content and selling it. It was formerly a podcast, but this season we're going to let you in on a little exclusive. It's going to become a video show, so it's going to be me and 2 other guests talking about Jurgen Klopp's press conference. There'll be a few little snippets here of Jurgen Klopp's press conference in there just to jazz it up a bit. You know, we're going above and beyond for you. So if you're not subscribed to the new season, make sure you do subscribe to Anfield Wrap. Make sure you download the app if you want to just give it a try. There's some tokens to play around with on there, so you can watch a couple of team talks, I reckon, with a few tokens and jib the rest. But we're going to do a bit of that today. We're going to give you a bit of a taster of what that will look like on video, because Jurgen Klopp did an interview with the club last night, John, and honestly, I was reading these quotes on the way into work, and it's absolutely unbelievable. Like, for one thing, the togetherness that seems to be in the squad, but also just how much of a laugh it seems to be. I'll read this first quote out. He says, "The new boys coming in were welcomed so warmly and friendly and open. If you could ask them, maybe you did already. If they say it was far more than expected, it's 100% the truth, because I never saw things like this, and I'm in the business for a while. It's really special, and yes, it gives you more confidence, because all the other clubs out there, they will want to improve as well, and it will not be easy, not a little bit. It'll be much more difficult, rather. So we need to make sure that we are a special team, and the one team that nobody wants to play against, that we fight more for each other, that we feel more togetherness and all these kind of things. I think it's worth trying, and that's why we do it. And I don't know about not wanting to play against them. I just want to play for them. Every time I see how strong the togetherness in the squad is, every time you see these things coming out from like the training camps in Austria and whenever they're, you know, just training generally, I suppose, they just seem like such a good bunch of lads.
I know, it's like, I was watching it all yesterday and reading all about it and reading Jurgen's interview this morning and thinking, like, how do we get on this cab? Do you know what I mean? Like, how many steps are me and you, Josh, away from getting an invite on this? I'll even do all the running and stuff. I'm not bothered, do you know what I mean? I'll sort of do everything. But, you know, as you say, you're watching, you know, how much fun they're having together, and how much they're enjoying each other and how much they're supporting each other. But also as well, how there seems to be sort of very little separation between people depending on what job they do. Like, obviously the biggest star of the karaoke is the kit man, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? And you see Kanate going sick at the front and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, you know, trying to work out who it was. And then I was sending a couple of messages yesterday, and someone said, it's the kit man. He's a tough lad and stuff like that. And I love that as well. And that's something that I think is, I'm not saying it didn't exist before, but I think Jurgen's been really hot on, hasn't he, is that if you work for Liverpool, you work for Liverpool, and we're all part of contributing to the goals, and I feel like everyone's bought into that, including the footballers themselves, or especially the footballers themselves, and you see that there. So yeah, it is brilliant, and it's great to hear that, you know, Jurgen, who's managed a lot, who's managed in, you know, from the very top to not, you know, when he started out in Mainz or whatever, you know, you'd have thought they'd be sort of a close-knit group really, you know, because very sort of similar backgrounds and from sort of, you know, all the sort of same area, I would imagine really, and not with the pressures of top level football. But he's saying, like, you know, here now is the best he's ever known, and that's great. But you know, it's also, you know, you can tell it's not bullshit because you can see it with your own eyes. It's brilliant, and it's going to be important as well. And that's what Jurgen's saying, because to achieve another reason why you can believe it is they don't achieve everything they do last season without that sort of togetherness. Absolutely. Really, and you know, especially I'm thinking in the domestic cups when essentially a second string comes in, but they play like Liverpool, they walk and act like Liverpool. I saw the quotes on Minamino yesterday, which are worth looking up, when he talks like talking up Jurgen Klopp and saying, yeah, I didn't play quite as much as when I did, but every time I did, I felt like I had the full back in and felt like everyone was behind me and stuff like that. And so this is where you foster that spirit, and this is where you foster that togetherness, and we'll need that next season, because as I say, you can't compete on all fronts without it. It's impossible. Absolutely.
And he mentions the new boys there and the sort of idea of bedding them in as well. And I think, you know, it was obvious to you guys when you went out to Asia as well how much that was the case. You know, Curtis Jones bouncing over and making sure Fabio Carvalho is sort of participating in the mix zone. There's been a load of inside training videos come from Austria as well of how much Darwin Núñez is settling in and having a laugh with his teammates and stuff. And that's what you want to see, isn't it? You want to see these new boys coming in and it not seeming sort of so alien to them, I suppose, and you wouldn't expect it to ever be with this group of players. You'd expect them to, you know, be sound and put their arms around them and stuff like that, but it's good to see, because it means that all they then have to worry about is getting the results on the pitch.
Yeah, and it's great, isn't it? And you sense, you know, that they're all very relaxed, the new lads already, and there's not like this thing where it's, oh, I'm coming into Liverpool and you know, the pressures off that really. You know, it's a supportive environment, isn't it? And yeah, it's a place where there's high standards, and there's a place where, you know, you're expected to work hard and be as fit as you possibly can be and do all the defensive work. But you sense that if you're willing to do that and you're willing to work for your team and put the team above yourself, that you'll be welcomed in, and that's, you know, looks like that's happened. As you see, Darwin seems to, you know, he's got obviously the language barrier, but he's enjoying himself sort of straight away. I'm sure he's getting help from the Portuguese speakers and the Brazilian lads and stuff like that. And obviously Carvalho, who speaks English and Portuguese fluently, which makes him the most popular guy in the squad. But I think you know, you can see them sort of coming in and feeling like part of it straight away, and that's really important, because there's going to be tough times for any footballer, but especially when you come. But if you feel like you've got the support of your teammates, if you feel like they've got your back and they believe that you can do it, it makes a massive difference.
100%, yeah. I'll read out some of the quotes. You mentioned the karaoke before, so Jurgen was sort of, you know, pulling back the curtain on that. He said, I think we all set it up for embarrassment, and that somebody goes up there and has to go through hell with the mic in your hand, and you have to sing a song you cannot sing, you cannot whatever, you don't know the song, all these kind of things. But the atmosphere was great. With all the fun we had, it was still respectful. There were some unbelievably good performances, so many unbelievable performances that we really enjoyed, and the time was flying. Nobody had a look at a watch or whatever. It was just great. I had a big meeting last night and told the boys that I never saw something like this. It's the truth. This is the basis we have to use. We as a group, the way we interact with each other, is something special, and we have to make sure that we use it for something big. And we've sort of touched on it there, haven't we? But you feel like this Liverpool side can't go wrong because of the base that they're setting, because of that foundation they're setting, because of the togetherness in the squad. It means that they're more likely to go on to be able to achieve things, because you see it with Liverpool's rivals now, or some of Liverpool's rivals. When there's not that togetherness in the squad, that's when it can all fall apart. And I think it's so important that, you know, Jurgen Klopp and his staff have tried so hard to sort of harness that, because, I mean, you see it in the scenes at the parade, don't you, just how strong that togetherness is.
Liverpool, in so many ways, will be the envy of so many clubs within world football, and I imagine that there's a lot of teams around the world who are looking at Liverpool and basically saying, how do we replicate that? And the truth is, it's very, very difficult, because it's years of work, it's years of the right recruitment, it's getting obviously the right manager in that sort of fits your style, you know, but throughout the club, the structure that they've got spot on. And that's not to say that, you know, mistakes won't be made and mistakes haven't been made and mistakes won't be next season, but if you've got the right culture and you've got that throughout the football club, then you can't go too far wrong, certainly not sort of on the pitch anyway. And so that's sort of what they've got at the moment. And as I say, when Jurgen's saying stuff like that, you need to listen. And I loved hearing about the karaoke and the different people who had to go. I've heard Billy Hogan got up as well, which I'd love to see. You know, Jurgen says, "Oh, I wish we'd have filmed the whole thing and put it on social." I'm not sure Billy Hogan necessarily believes that, but I'd love to know what he had to go with it. But apparently he had a live band as well. He was like, "Oh yeah," he was giving them a shout out, Sons of Kurt, saying they were really good and stuff like that. So I don't know if Paul Senior's lawyers are going to be on about live band karaoke, but yeah, it's as I say, it's hard. I just wish it could go. Like, how do we go next year, Josh? We need to start having meetings about it.
We need to try and box it, don't we? I was going to ask you off the back of that, if you could pick anyone from the Liverpool squad to do karaoke with, who are you picking and what song are you doing?
Oh, okay. That's difficult. From the squad then, I feel like, you know, it's tough because I've got a lot of close personal friends in the Liverpool squad and stuff like that. But I feel like me and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain do something good together. We do be a good sort of little duo. I don't know. I'm thinking about like a male like duet, and all I can think of is Elton John and George Michael. Don't let the sun go down on me.
Into it. I was thinking Ghetto Superstar, so we've gone at opposite ends of the spectrum there, to be honest.
Who are you doing Ghetto Superstar with?
Costas Tsimikas has got to be, hasn't it?
Amazing.
The Anfield Wrap had done an interview with Costas Tsimikas, if you didn't know, and he seems like a lot of fun. He seems like a barrel of laughs. We'll go through some of the comments here just before we have a little clip for you, a little exclusive for you. A lot of people saying morning. A few time checks in there as well, which is always good. Get your time checks in. Drew Pick says it's 4:12 in the USA morning. Clarence Worley says 7:13 p.m. in Melbourne. She's got people from all over the world watching it. Isn't that mad? There's been a few questions about the team talk. Harriet Pryor is also in the comments answering some of those questions, but somebody asked if it's going out as an audio show as well. It won't be going out as an audio show. However, we're going to be having a new show, which is an audio preview, which Ian Ryan will be hosting. That's going to have the caller, and that's going to be basically the same format as the team talk, but a little bit more looking ahead to the game, and the team talk will be over on video. As part of our video service, if you click join just below this video, you'll be able to get access to all of our premium content. I think it was Stephen Canning before saying he wanted an exclusive perk. And you can get exclusive perks by clicking join on this video. There's another show we recorded recently, myself and John was sat here just with a big clock behind us, but pulling back the curtain a bit, it's not actually a big clock, it's just a big green wheel and they put a clock on it. And that's called 10 Topics, 10 Minutes, and here is a little clip from that.
What are Barcelona up to?
God knows, honestly. How long have you got?
Well, exactly.
60 seconds.
It does feel a little bit mad. Like what I don't get as well is they've got these really good young players. So I think like the almost what I would do would say like let's just build around these young players, and if we don't win anything for a couple of years, you know, it's fine in a way because we're sort of going to build the next great team. But instead, they're just like spending money they don't have on 35-year-old lads.
They seem to just have this like completely unsustainable approach to transfer business, don't they? And I think that's been the case for a little while now, and it seems like there's been no jeopardy for that really. Like we saw the season where they had to sell Lionel Messi and stuff, but it felt like that sort of, you know, relationship was coming to an end anyway, and it was just sort of forced by that kind of thing. But even that summer they went and signed Aguero and stuff, and I know that didn't turn out the way they'd hoped, but you know, they'd never been like losing out. Exactly, yeah. Never learned, never losing out. Should be the new club slogan.
I mean, maybe it will, but it is a bit of a mad one. I mean, they've obviously suffered from, you know, closed grounds and stuff, but yeah, what are they up to? Your Carabao Cup from 3.
Oh, I like this. Cade Gordon straight away.
Yeah.
Becomes tough, doesn't it? Like,
who's not getting games as well,
yeah.
Isn't it? So say Jota is just coming back from injury, hasn't really started. You pick him, don't you?
Yeah, I think Bobby Firmino is probably going to be the one who would be sort of lowest down the pecking order of the entire front three. So I'd have him in there as well. And it becomes tough beyond that because there's not sort of great options. Even in the academy, in terms of front three options, bar Cade Gordon, you'd maybe have Curtis Jones starting on the left-hand side of front three, Fabio Carvalho. It's obviously a role that he can do. I imagine you would see at least one midfielder sort of starting in that front three, but of the two sort of forward options, you'd have Firmino and Cade Gordon. Yeah,
Cade Gordon, a little bit of shame we're not seeing him yet this pre-season, but apparently he's back training now, so hopefully he'll play on Wednesday, and he looks like he's got a really bright future. I mean, he's already got a goal in a red shirt, which is nice, but hopefully more to come.
Yeah, I think the injuries have been a bit of a worry so far. It's been a bit of a stuttering start to his Liverpool career, and he's maybe not sort of reached the heights you'd hope quite yet.
Okay, it's tight, isn't it? Next season kits, have you seen any? There was loads of people saying, best and worst kits for next season. I'm not seeing that many apart from Norwich away, Flames. To enjoy this podcast or video, all you need to do is download the Anfield Wrap app. It's available on Google Play or your app store on Apple, and you can get some free tokens which you can use to try some of our content, and that includes match previews and media post-match content, exclusive interviews, and loads of transfer chat as well. So join the Anfield Wrap. We're sharing the story of supporting Liverpool from the heart of the city. Up the Reds.
There you go, absolutely loads of topics from 10 Topics, 10 minutes there. We're going to go and have a word with Mick after this because that's about a fifth of the content you've seen there. You know, we can't be giving too much away. We've got to keep some of it to be sacred and make sure you want to be coming back for more. But John, speaking of coming back for more, the Reds are coming back for more tonight, looking ahead to the Salzburg game. I'm really interested to see what the team's like tonight because it's been getting sort of stronger in quite sort of big leaps almost so far. Obviously, we've got the Community Shield coming up at the weekend. We've got the Strasbourg friendly as well. I'm expecting those two teams to sort of be a bit of a split of the team that we finally see at Fulham, but I'm expecting a really strong starting 11 again tonight.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because, you know, we've just been talking about the training camp and all the fun stuff that we've been seeing on social media. So the likes of the karaoke clips and Darwin with a big fish and stuff like that we've been seeing. But you know, they've been working really hard as well, and you know, they've been drilling them on shape. Jurgen talked in his interview about counter pressing, and he basically said like all our best games last season had that feature, how good the pressing was. So that's obviously on his mind. So he'll have been, you know, really sort of drilling that home, you know, ramming that home this week in terms of, you know, with a pressing team, intensity is our identity and all that, and they've been working loads and loads on that in this week. So listen, we were really good against Leipzig, weren't we, and the pressing was certainly there then, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Liverpool go up another level tonight. I think you'll go strong, and I think you'll look to give everyone 60, but then with maybe half an eye on Saturday, but also trying to give as many players, you know, involved as possible. But I'm expecting something similar to Leipzig in terms of a really strong first 11, but maybe a few more of those lads getting 60 minutes this time. It was about sort of half and half, I think, last time, wasn't it, between you know, those doing 45 and those doing 60, so expecting a few more. But yeah, really looking forward to watching them and just maybe seeing if there's any little subtle changes as well. Josh has been working on in training. I think so far how we've lined up is pretty similar to how we have done, you know, last season. But now he's had this sort of week, will we see any little tweaks, you know, in terms of the formation, in terms of, you know, what he's asking certain players to do? That's another thing, you know, to look out for as well as little clues from the starting 11 about, as you say, who we might go for at Fulham. But really looking forward tonight. It should be said we're doing it on Hot Mic as well, so if you download the Hot Mic app, if you haven't downloaded it before, use the code Anfield Wrap when prompted. It's completely free, and watch it along with us tonight, which should be really good fun. It is live on LFC TV or LFC Go, but if you fancy a bit of Anfield Wrap commentary alongside it, then do get stuck in with us.
100%, you read my mind there, because Drew Pick had asked whether there was Hot Mic going on tonight. He said with Morecambe and Wise. I presume he means you and Neil, but there's no Neil tonight.
No, he's coming.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He's Neil's having a couple of days off, but he fucking loves the Reds, so he's coming in tonight and watching the game and doing a bit of Hot Mic. Yeah.
We had someone asking about Robbo there, by the way. There's a project that Gareth's been working on, the sort of last project he worked on for the Anfield Wrap, which is out today. That's out for free, so make sure you have a listen to that and share that with your mates. And then Chris Robinson, in the spirit of Gareth Roberts, said, what happened to that decorator's bench you used as a table? Well, we've managed to upgrade the table, and that's thanks to the support of you lovely people out there. So make sure you download the Anfield Wrap app, make sure you click and join below this video, subscribing to the YouTube channel as well, because that's completely free. But I mean, come and subscribe, because there's loads more content behind the paywall as well. Team talks, like basically what you just watched there. 10 topics, 10 minutes. Fucking loads, isn't there?
Yeah, we need some new chairs. So if you can,
next thing,
if you can,
Amazon wish list.
Yeah, if you can subscribe, that'd be really useful.
Nice one, love you.
Up the Reds.